ton cours de français. Hello and welcome to my French class. In today's class, we're going to go over singular versus plural. So last class, we went over masculine versus feminine. So this time, we're going to add singular versus plural to the masculine and feminine nouns or verb conjugations. So the gender of a noun influences the way you conjugate a verb. The verb needs to agree with the gender and the number with the subject. This is more notable when it comes to compound tenses. So as an example, le passé composé, the past tense, what we've learned so far on how to conjugate in the past tense is passé composé. So in the case of passé composé, you're using an auxiliary. So the auxiliary être, to be, in the example of conjugating it with the verb aller, to go. In English, the past tense of to go is I went. In French is je suis allé. So auxiliary être, auxiliary to be. And you conjugate have gone. So I have gone, I went. In French, you would translate it to je suis allé. If je is a guy or je is a male, masculine form, you would write aller, conjugate aller with an e / accent aigu. If I'm talking about me, let's say in this example, je suis allé, and I'm a female, I'm feminine, so feminine form, you add an e at the end of the word aller. That's how you conjugate it. So e accent aigu e, e / e. So again, je suis allé. If I'm a male, only with an e / female, you add an e to the masculine form. So e / masculine form, you add an e to that conjugation. In the case where tu es allé, I happen to talk to a guy or a masculine form. In that case, I would write tu es allé. Aller would be written accent aigu, e /. Now, if I'm speaking to a lady or to a female, to a feminine form, tu es allé. If she happens to be a female, you add an e. So again, you're going to get the hang of it. We add an e to a accent aigu, e / when it comes to the feminine form. Now, he, she has gone or went. Il est allé, elle est allée. Il est allé, aller, we write it with an accent aigu, e / because it's masculine. Feminine form, elle est allée, e / and another e because I'm talking to a feminine third party by saying she, elle. Now it comes to nous sommes allés, masculine, plural because it's many. If let's say, it wouldn't apply to me because I'm a girl, but let's say I'm a guy and it's us guys going somewhere, you would say nous sommes allés. So nous has an S, sommes has an S, and aller would have an S. You don't pronounce them. These are just for written form so that you know how to conjugate the masculine, feminine, plural, singular, plural. So again, only in the written form, you do not pronounce the extra E, you do not pronounce in this case, the extra E or the extra S. So again, nous sommes allés. If I'm talking about a group of guys that we've gone to, we, I'll use the accent aigu S. If I'm speaking to, let's say in my case, we have gone and it's me and all my girlfriends. In this case, we would say nous sommes allés. Nous es, sommes es. That doesn't change. Aller. Es, I'm adding an es to the word aller because I'm conjugating feminine plural. In the case of vous êtes allé, same thing. If vous êtes allé is a group of male I'm talking to, I would write vous êtes, both have an s, allé, no extra e, so only accent aigu, e / and then an s. So again, you have to link all the words when you're conjugating. Vous êtes allé. Let's say I'm talking to a group of female. Then I would write vous êtes, that doesn't change. Aller would be conjugated accent aigu, es. It would end with e/es because it's feminine and it's plural. In the case of they have gone, let's say they went. Ils sont allés. So ils sont allés. Aller would have an S. Elles sont allées. Aller would have an ES. Feminine and plural. Here are the general rules to follow when it comes to verb agreement. So as a trick, masculine, you conjugate it the regular way you normally conjugate. The feminine form, you add an E to the masculine form of conjugation. The plural, you'd add an S to the masculine form of conjugation. And the feminine plural, you add an ES to the form of conjugation. So a little trick to memorize case number 1. I interchange the word male and masculine a lot because I'm bouncing back from French to English. So if I would speak only in English, I would say it properly by just saying masculine or feminine. But because I'm going back and forth from French to English, sometimes I'll say male form, sometimes I'll say female form, but you know what I mean. I'm referring to masculine versus feminine. So again, masculine, you conjugate it the regular way. Feminine, you add an E to the male conjugation, to the masculine form of conjugation. Plural, you add an S to the masculine form of conjugation. And feminine plural, you add an ES to the masculine form of conjugation. So a little trick to remember. So the same rule applies if the subject is a noun. You still conjugate the verb to the subject. So instead of having pronouns like I, you, they, we, you can use an actual subject like, let's say, my mother as an example here. So I would use an example, ma mère est allée à la banque. My mother went to the bank. So the subject here is my mother, ma mère, and she is singular feminine. So how you would write aller, you would write it as a E/E. So est allée. Ma mère est allée à la banque. So female form singular, you would write it with an E/E. So again, keep in mind that knowing these rules are useful, but again, it's just for written form. You do not necessarily pronounce these when you speak. So case number 2, when you have the auxiliary avoir, to have, and you have a direct object before the verb. So using the auxiliary to have, avoir, while you have a direct object before the verb. So as an example, la remarque que j'ai faite, la remarque, the comment that I made, the comment that I made, la remarque que j'ai faite. So la remarque is feminine, que j'ai faite, that I made, so the comment that I made. How you would conjugate made, that I made, would be linked to la remarque because we're talking about la remarque, that's the subject. So la remarque que j'ai faite. So I know I'm talking about an entire sentence and we're not there yet. Next class, we're going to look at determinants, which is articles, but more in depth. We have more than just le, la. So we'll go into depth with the determinants. And after that, we're going to learn how to make complete sentences and sentence structure. So as an example here, I know it's a little tricky, but la remarque que j'ai fait, the comment that I made, you conjugate that I made to the comment. So la remarque. La remarque is feminine. Que j'ai fait, you add an E to fait. Que j'ai fait is the masculine form. Que j'ai fait is the feminine form by adding an E to fait. So la remarque, again, is feminine. Que j'ai fait will also be linked as a feminine. So the next portion will be adjectives. So we saw case number 1 and case number 2 with the auxiliaries and the verb conjugation. When it comes to adjectives, you also link the adjectives to the gender and the number of the subject in question. As an example, big, green, stubborn, and hungry. These are adjectives, big, green, stubborn, and hungry. The same rule will apply. Masculine, you write it the regular way of writing it. Feminine, you add an E. Plural, masculine, you just add an S. Feminine plural, you add an ES. So, example, big, green, stubborn, and hungry. When it comes to the masculine singular, you would write it grand, vert, t'es-tu, and affamé. This is how you normally write these adjectives. Now, if you want to turn it into feminine form, you add an E. So the feminine form, you add an E, making it grande, verte, t'es-tu. You don't pronounce the E in t'es-tu. T'es-tu, affamé. So you add an E to t'es-tu, you add an E to affamé. So grande, you add an E. Verte, you add an E. T'es-tu, you add an E, but you don't say t'es-tu, you just t'es-tu. And affamé, add an E. So affamé, add an E. When it comes to plural, masculine plural, you write it the exact same way as the masculine, but you add an S. So grand, add an S. Vert, add an S. T'es-tu, you add an S. In affamé, you add an S. And in the feminine plural form, grande, IS, verte, IS, t'es-tu, IS, affamé, also add an ES. So this is typically how you conjugate adjectives. And again, when it comes to rules, there's always exceptions. So you might have a few exceptions that don't fit in there. But for the most part, that's how you conjugate an adjective to its subject. Now, if the adjective ends with an L or with an N, you double the consonant and then you add an E. So as an example, nice, gentil. Bon, good. So bon, gentil. Good, nice. Bon is good, gentil is nice. So masculine form of bon is B-O-N. Masculine form of gentil, G-E-N-T-I-L. So it ends with N, it ends with L. Now for the feminine form, bonne, gentille. So you double the N, double the consonant, add an E. Double the L, add an E. Masculine plural form, bon, gentil, by adding an S. Feminine plural form, you double the consonant, add an ES. So bonne, gentille. Bonne, gentille. So again, you don't pronounce the S. The S is just there for you to know that it's plural. There's many. So we're conjugating the adjective to the subject, so they all have to match. They all have to be linked. If the adjective already ends with an E, what do? If the adjective already ends with an E, then the masculine form and the feminine form are the same. In this case, the only thing you do is you add an S when it comes to the plural form. So as an example, triste, calme, drôle, sad, calm, and funny. Sad, calm, and funny all end with E. Triste, calme, et drôle. So masculine form, triste, calme, et drôle. Feminine form, triste, calme, et drôle. Masculine plural, triste with an S, calme with an S, drôle with an S. And feminine plural form, exactly the same. Triste, calme, and drôle, all with an S. So straightforward in this case. Other common rules would be, like we saw in the previous class, changes to euse. Changes to euse. You also have EUX. EUX changes to euse. And F changes to VE when it comes to masculine versus feminine form. So as an example, neuf, new, neuve, something new that happens to be feminine form. So that's how you link it. An example would be joueur, a player, either a player or a playful person. Joueur. The masculine form would be joueur. The feminine form would be joueuse. Joueur, joueuse. The plural form would be joueur with an S. And the plural feminine form would be joueuse with an S. In the case of EUX, you have, let's say, heureux, happy. Masculine form. Heureuse, feminine form of someone happy. So if she's happy, elle est heureuse. So heureux, heureuse. Plural form of masculine, heureux, it doesn't change. You don't add an S to heureux. So the fact that it has an X, it also will include the plural form. And then heureuse, feminine plural, would end with an ES. So in this case, heureux stays the same when it comes to masculine singular and masculine plural. The last category, neuf and neuve, Neuf, it's masculine singular. Masculine plural is neuf with an S. Feminine would be neuve. Feminine plural would be neuve with an S at the end. So how to memorize French genders. So again, I'll give you 3 little tricks. It can be overwhelming, but if you memorize the article before the word, the noun, which you should. So when it comes to memorization, don't just memorize voiture, car. Memorize la voiture. So in the case would be the car, but if you memorize it in French, it would be la voiture. La voiture tells you right off the bat that it's a female word. The second trick would be to add an adjective. So let's say you would say la voiture verte. So remember, la voiture verte, add the article, add an adjective. And if you add an adjective with the article when it comes to memorization, then it'll be like the song. You'll hear it many times, and then you'll know how to pronounce it because you'll know how the song is sang. So if you know how the song is sang, if you suddenly say the wrong gender, it'll show. So let's say la voiture est verte. No, la voiture est verte. And you would know that because you'll keep linking it, and with practice, you'll become better. So the third trick would be to memorize a symbol when it comes to feminine and memorize a symbol when it comes to masculine. So as an example, the moon tends to be female in most cultures. So if you memorize a female word, the car, try to also memorize the symbol, the moon, with it. And if you do that, it'll help. You can also use a symbol for male, let's say the sun, and then memorize the sun whenever it comes to masculine words. So these little tricks here and there can help with memorization. But again, practice makes perfect, and that's what I would recommend you to do, is to watch these videos multiple times and practice until you see that it's rolling off your tongue and you're saying it smoothly without having to think too much about it. So this completes today's class. Thank you very much. Next class, we'll see the determinants. Those are articles, but in great depth. And after that, it'll be creating entire sentences. So we'll learn how to create sentences after that. So thank you. Merci beaucoup. Et à la prochaine. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class.